Yeah, so I had a couple questions. One, I was wondering, will checks always take as long as this one to clear? This one I deposited, I think, almost a week ago, and it's still hasn't cleared. Okay, no problem. The other question I had is, I noticed the max per month is 75,000 to deposit by via check. Is there any way that can go up? Because we have a client who is insisting on paying via check, and the total amount that they're going to pay up front is 165,000. What does it take to start a company in 2023? Well, today I'm going to go over everything you need to know. Short backstory before we go into what to do to start the business. In 2021, we started off just doing live gigs for bands around Boston. So bands would hire us, we would take the gear out, we would set it up, we would do lighting, we would do the production for them. So all they had to do was come, drop their amp on the stage, we would mic it up for them, and they could start playing, or drum set, whatever the instrument was. That became quite successful, and over the next 2 summers we got more and more work. I had been working for a church in Boston called Ebenezer Baptist, and they had asked me to start working on video stuff so that they could go stream live. They have since sold their old property and bought a new one and want to upgrade everything for the new one, and so they've asked me to provide a whole new setup for them: video, lights, and sound, as well as video monitoring and sound for a cafe out front. So it's a big project. So now I had to do a couple things in order to make that happen. And one of those things was I had to actually legitimize the business. I had to get an EIN. I had to become a distributor of live sound, and lights. I had to actually contact a company that sells wholesale and then become like essentially a Guitar Center. Hey, look, you can buy gear from me now. Link down below. Anyway, so here's how all of that happened. We're going to start with step one. Step one to starting any company is having an idea, one that you really are passionate about, because it's going to take way more work in the beginning than it's going to be worth it financially. So in this case, it was providing live sound. I needed live sound for my band. We had been doing it ourselves and kind of just piecing it together and making it work. We needed a guy to actually take care of that so we could just enjoy playing. And so that solution was my buddy. It made sense for me to start a company with him where we bought the gear and we provided it for bands. And so I helped bankroll the whole idea and get that gear started. And that was step one. That was coming up with the dream and starting the dream. Step two is finding more gigs. A lot of that is word of mouth, but some of that is actually going and asking people if they need assistance in this thing that you provide, and knowing enough about it that you can provide it for them and do better than anyone else. Step three is trying to make yourself indispensable so that there's no way that you can be replaced. Now, there's always a way you can be replaced. There's always someone who can do your job just as good as you. But if you're that good at what you do and you're that passionate about it, no one will even start looking for that. So the step three is that. It's to make yourself indispensable. Then, when the opportunity presents itself, you can suggest what's best for the client without them really worrying about what it entails. And a good example of this is my wedding band. Truthfully, we don't want clients to tell us what to play all night long. Why? Because that's what we do for a living. We can read a room and we know exactly what to play to keep people having fun. The client doesn't. Sometimes their favorite playlist is what all of their friends hate. They want to have a fun party where all of their friends are dancing the whole time. So what they really want is for us to read the room and play the right stuff. And it's the same when it comes to any profession. You need to gain trust so that you can have them trust you to do what you do best. Now, notice that I haven't mentioned actually filing for an LLC or a partnership or any of that stuff yet. A lot of people will tell you that should have been first. But no. The reason why is you don't know if it's going to work yet. And that's a whole lot of work to file all that stuff. And in the beginning, most careers that you're starting on your own or most entrepreneurial things can be done under your own tax ID and can be done as an independent contractor. So for example, the first 2 years of this business, it just looked like I made more money as a musician because that's what I was doing. I was making more money as a musician. I happened to be providing live sound, but I'm still a musician and I was getting paychecks nonetheless. So don't get too paranoid about I need to go file for an LLC or I need to go start a partnership or all of that. Yes, you do once it starts taking off because it's going to get so big, you need something to take the burden from you. But in the beginning, when it's small and you're making a couple extra $1,000 a year, just put it under your tax ID. And yes, you'll owe, if you're not good at taxes, you'll owe 30%. But if you're good at taxes, you'll owe 15-ish, 16. And just make sure you're good at saving too. And now we come to step 4. So if you haven't done it already, which is fine because I haven't mentioned it yet, now's a good time to make a partnership agreement. This basically determines what happens with the company throughout the life of the company. And it's something you could do at the very beginning if you want to. Again, you're both investing. As long as it feels like you're both investing evenly, most people would still recommend to do it first, but you want things to grow organically, and things don't really grow organically when you stop and plan out your entire life as a company, because then you're just setting up a whole bunch of expectations that don't usually end up coming to fruition. So I usually find it better to start making money as professionals, and then as it starts to get to this step, which is step 4, you start to actually do things like write out a partnership agreement, something that you both agree on, so it shows who owns what part of the company and how you're filing. Then apply as a partnership or an LLC, whichever you prefer. If you want to change in the future, it's not that hard, so don't freak out about that part. You have to pick the right one. It's more or less arbitrary. There are different bonuses for each of them, so that's a totally different video, and I'm not going to really get into that. But this is step 4. It's the point in which you want to make that transition. And so you'll need to, 1, make a partnership agreement, 2, file for an EIN, and 3, you'll want to start a business bank account. Also, you'll probably, if you haven't already, want to start designing a website, which is what I did all at once the last 3 weeks. All of those steps in step 4, all of those little micro steps in step 4 happened in the last 3 weeks. So that's it, folks. That's your Work Wednesday. Get out there and start a company. That's what Work Wednesday is all about. It's all about music business and how to succeed in it. So comment below if you have any questions. If you think I said things wrong, feel free to comment below as well. I'm happy to discuss how I've started businesses, and you can discuss how you've started businesses, and yeah, we can talk about it. Anyway, I'll see you tomorrow for Theory Thursday, and Friday I've got maybe 2 videos coming out. It's a fun one. I'm going to review a few different things that I've never done before. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of work this week. But anyway, see you soon.